गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीबॉडी। कैसे आप लोग? इज एवरीबॉडी हैप्पी? हैप्पी एज वेल एज सेफ एट योर होम्स? Dear students, myself Shubhrasad sir from Shubhraj Singh Children Academy. Dear students, once again welcome in my YouTube channel. Students, in today's lecture, today that is on 2nd September 2020. Today's lecture of 12th Economics. Dear students, in the last lecture of our 12th Economics, I had discussed about saving function. Saving function. Students, this topic saving function, you know already that it is the topic of the part B of 12th Economics, that is introductory macroeconomics. तो ये this part B, in the part B, chapter number 3, that is determinants of income and employment. Chapter number 3, determinants of income and employment. Determinants of income and employment. In this chapter, the topic which I had discussed in the last lecture, that was saving function. In the last lecture, meaning of saving function was discussed, as well as the graphical presentation Yes, dear students, as I was saying that in the last lecture, the meaning of saving function as well as the diagrammatic presentation or the graphical presentation of saving function was discussed. You must have seen that video. So let me assure that you have already understood the meaning of saving function. You have already understood the diagrammatic, the presentation of the saving function. Today, in this lecture, my dear students, I am going to discuss about marginal propensity to consume. It is the continuation of the last lecture itself. As I told you that in the last lecture we had discussed about saving function. So it is the continuation of the same lecture. After studying the meaning and diagrammatic the presentation of the saving function. Today we are going to learn about the slope of the saving function, that is marginal propensity to consume. Slope of saving function. Slope of saving function is nothing but, that is your MPS. What is MPS? Marginal propensity to consume. In today's lecture, we will discuss about the meaning of marginal propensity to consume. While explaining the meaning, once again we will have to take the help of the same diagram which we had drawn in the last lecture. So once again I will draw the same diagram which was drawn in the last lecture. So meaning will be explained, the same diagram will be drawn, and after drawing the same diagram, that is of a saving function, then we will see through the equations how the marginal propensity is explained. Afterwards, in today's lecture itself, we will learn the relationship between APS, that is average propensity to save, as well as MPS, that is marginal propensity to save. So these things we are going to cover in the today's lecture. We can say that after covering these many things in today's lecture, we can say that this third chapter of your economics part B, that is determinants of income and employment, will be over. And then by the next lecture, we will be able to start our fourth chapter, next chapter. Once again, I will say that you go through all the videos of this third chapter and you just compare it from your NCERT book. If anything is missing or left out, then please remind me. Otherwise, as I am saying that today's video or today's lecture will be last lecture on third chapter, determinants of income and employment. Okay, so MPS, that is marginal propensity to save, meaning as we had discussed, in case of saving function, same is over here also. Only thing is that we have to concentrate on this marginal. Marginal means additional or change. This delta, this sign is used for change, marginal propensity to save, or that change in savings. Dear student, as we know very well that as income increases, the effect of increase in income is consumption also increases, and simultaneously savings also increases. So over here, when we are discussing that relationship between savings and income, that is your saving function as well as marginal propensity to save. So marginal means additional. Over here, while discussing the meaning of marginal propensity to save, we have to concentrate on the word marginal. Marginal means additional. So for example, earlier my salary was rupees 10,000 per month. Example, earlier my salary was rupees 10,000 per month. My salary increased from 10,000 per month to 15,000 per month. To 15,000 per month. Over here in this example, the salary increased from rupees 10,000 to rupees 15,000. If you talk about that how much change occurs in case of income, then change is of rupees 5,000. How? 15,000 minus 10,000 means changed income minus the earlier income or the previous income or the old income. So 15,000 minus 10,000, you got rupees 5,000. 5,000 is marginal income, that is additional income. So due to this additional income, due to this marginal income, what will be the effect on the savings? This relationship is called as marginal propensity to save. Means with every additional unit, attend here please everybody. Now I am framing my statement, the meaning of marginal propensity to save. So I want the attention of everybody. Attend here. कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जो वीडियो देखते देखते उनको नींद आने लगती है. तो माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, इट मे हैपन कि आप वो वीडियो या तो गलत टाइम पे देखते होंगे या गलत ढंग से देखते होंगे. कुछ लोग ऐसा बेड पे लेट गए और लेट के वीडियो देख रहे. सो जाहिर सी बात है, आफ्टर फ्यू मिनट्स यू विल फील ड्राउजी, you will feel sleepy. So don't do that. Anyway, attend here please everybody. I am framing statement MPS, marginal propensity to save. With every additional unit of income, with every additional unit of income, how much will be the increase in the savings? With every additional increase, with every additional unit of increase in income, what will be the effect on the savings? Means it is very clear that if income increases, saving will also increase. But my dear students, this we are talking about average propensity to save. When we are talking about the total savings, it is average propensity to save. And when we are talking about with every additional unit of increase in income, what will be the additional effect on the savings? That is called as marginal propensity to save. Getting the meaning? No doubt in the meaning. So let's discuss with the help of the earlier diagram. It was the meaning. Now let's go ahead. Dear students, once again we will have to draw the same diagram, and after drawing the diagram we will go through the equations framed. Then only this marginal propensity to save will be completed. So let's draw the same diagram which was drawn in the last lecture. Over here your OY axis, and it is OX axis, OY and OX. Dear students, on OY axis savings, and the figures over here 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 and 120 like this. On the y-axis, here -20, then 50, 100 and 150 on the y-axis. X-axis 50, 100 and 150. Saving curve starts from -20, intersect at 100 and so on. Starts from 20, intersects at 100 and it goes like this. It is your saving curve. Students, in the last video this was drawn. It is not yet completed. Few more things are there to be drawn, but you might be thinking about the data that where from I got the data for this, like this. On y-axis the figures I have taken 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 and 120, and on x-axis 50, 100 and 150 like this. So I would like to remind you once again, it is the same diagram which was in the last video, last lecture, but just to remind you, I am once again writing over here the same data which was in the last video or last lecture. It was like this, your data set. It was like this. Over here Y and here S. Y, that is your income, and S, savings. Here 0 and -20, then 50 and -10, then 100, 0 and then 150 plus 10. It was data like this, and on the basis of this data we had shown like this, that from -20 over here 20, -20 over here 0, then in between this 0 and -20, somewhere over here we will have -10. From -10 to up to here, that is 50, something like this. आप घर पे ड्रॉ करेंगे स्केल पेंसिल से तो और अच्छा ड्रॉ होगा आपका. And at 150, that is somewhere like this. 150 from this plus 10 over here, somewhere over here 10. It is your plus 10. It was -10. So it was an over here on OX axis, as I told you earlier, it is Y, that is your income or GDP. So just recap of the last lecture. Up to this we had finished in the last lecture. Last lecture, the meaning of saving function was discussed, diagrammatic presentation was done, and I had finished my lecture at here. But as I told you, in today's lecture we had started from the MPS, that is marginal propensity to save. Meaning, I have already told you, it is diagram. In this diagram, if you see that on the basis of either data set or over here in diagram, dear students, when the income is 0, at that time savings is -20 and income is 50, savings is -10. Why it is in minus? Because the consumption is more than income. That's why when income is 100, at the time savings is 0. It is seen over here that income is on the OX axis, we are having income is 100, savings is 0, 0, this is 0, so income line and it is savings 0. Afterwards, when income rises from 100 to 150, saving also increases from 0 to 10. So this we are covering in this lecture, that marginal propensity to save with every additional unit of increase income. So I think diagram is clear already in the last lecture. Now henceforth we will solve the equations. Through equations we are going to see that like this over here. This diagram must be over here, so that's why I would rub out this and equations will be shown over here, then you will understand better way. Let's attend here. Y increases from 100 to 150, from 100 to 150, S increases from 0 to 10, so that change in S is equal to 10 and change in Y equal to 50. MPS, that is marginal propensity to save, or we can say that the slope of S line, the slope of S line equal to change in S upon change in Y equal to 10 upon 50 equal to 0.2. So attend here everybody. Dear students, simultaneously you will have to look into the diagram also, that data set also, and over here in the equation. Once again I would like to draw your attention. Y, that is income, increases from 100 to 150. Income, that is Y, increases from 100 to 150. This can be seen in diagram also, that on the OX axis we have taken Y, that is income. Income increases from 100 to 150, or it can be seen in our data set also, that income increases from 100 to 150. So what happens? S increases, that is savings increases from 0 to 10. Savings increases from 0 to 10 when the income is 100. Attend here please everybody. When income is 100, saving is 0. It can be seen in data set as well as it can be seen in the diagram, when income is on x axis, when income is 100, at that time savings are on y axis. Savings is 0, it is the point of origin. When income is 100, at that time the savings is 0. It can be seen in the diagram as well as in the data set. When the income is 100, the savings is 0. So clear? Up to here clear? Everybody? Yes. So that change in S, that is change in savings, is 10. Change in savings is 10. How come change is 10? Because earlier it was 0, now it is increased. So this 10. Okay. Change in the savings is 10. Change in the income is 50. Change in Y is 50. How change in Y is 50? It can be seen from over here. When earlier income was 100 and now income rises from 100 to 150. So change in the income is 50. Change in the income is 50 and change in the savings, this sign delta is called as change, is 10. So MPS, that is marginal propensity to save, or the slope of saving line, equal to delta S upon delta Y, that is change in savings upon change in Y. So 10 by 50, same figures we have substituted over here, that 10 by 50 equal to 0.2. What does this mean? This means that, attend here everybody, what does this mean? We have got MPS, marginal propensity to save, is 0.2. It is our answer. So what does this mean? This means that saving is 20%. Saving is 20% of the income. Its another meaning is that 80% of income is consumed. 80% of income is consumed. So got it? Everybody? No doubt? Students, over here we have finished our marginal propensity to save. Now let's learn about the relationship between APS and MPS, that is average propensity to save and marginal propensity to save. Let me rub out this, then next few minutes we will be able to finish the relationship between APS and MPS. Okay, so first let me rub out this. Yes, dear students, APS and MPS are different concepts. APS and MPS are different concepts. Attend here please, everybody. APS and MPS. APS and MPS. APS and MPS are different concepts, How they are different concepts, or what is the relationship between APS and MPS, we are going to learn. Dear students, APS, that is average propensity to save, and MPS, that is marginal propensity to save. When we talk about APS, when we say APS, so over here we are talking about average or the total propensity to save, and when we talk about MPS, that is marginal propensity to save. It is additional. Additional means with every additional increase in the income, with every additional unit of the income, what will be the additional effect on the savings. So thus it can be explained with the help of equations that APS equal to S by Y, MPS, which we finished just now, MPS equal to delta S upon delta Y, that is a change in savings upon change in income, when same that continuation of the earlier data, when Y was 150, when the income is 150 and the saving was 10, and the saving was 10 at the time, then what happens? APS equal to 10 by 150, that is S by Y. So 10 by 150, the answer you will get, answer will be 0.67, and I am continuing over there. And if you talk about that MPS, that is change. Students, let's summarize today's lecture. APS is equal to S by Y, MPS is equal to delta S upon delta Y, that is a change in S upon change in Y. When Y is 150 and S is 10, that is income is 150 and the savings is 10, then APS, that is average propensity to save, will be 10 by 150 according to this equation, that is APS is equal to S by Y. The answer is 0.067. Again, when change in S, that is delta S is 10 and delta Y, that is a change in income, is 50. So MPS, according to this equation, MPS is equal to delta S upon delta Y is 10 by 50 is equal to 0.2. So you look at both the answers. APS is 0.067 and the MPS is 0.2. By this we can conclude that APS and MPS, that is average propensity to save and marginal propensity to save, both are different. What is the main difference? When we talk about average propensity to save, it is a total propensity, and when we talk about the marginal propensity to save, it is marginal, that is additional. What will be the effect on savings with every additional unit of the income? Okay, so I would like to stop over here today. That's all for the day. Thank you very much for kind cooperation.